Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome to. I don't know if we've ever done a Wednesday edition of Show Business, but welcome to the June 30th edition of Show Business. I come to you as always as CP.
And from the horror show and Fuego-tainment, I'm Jaime in Fuego.
And I'm Lindsey in my 2 cents of nonsense. What's up?
And I'm Chauncey K. Robinson, a Twisted Woman CKR.
You know, I'm just realizing now we're never, except for me being in the top left corner, we're never in the same spot. We're always in different. We can't play Hollywood Squares with with our placement.
So well, we can, but it's like tic-tac-toe where it keeps changing every other round.
Random.
Like, yeah.
It's like playing a game of Guess Who. How you guys doing? How's your weekend?
Good.
It was awesome. I saw Fast 9 and a good music documentary, and Loki's fun. Everything's good. How are you guys doing?
Okay. We delayed because I was in a clinic, but other than that, I have a third nipple, so there's that. Can never have too many of them.
I was gonna say, I'm thinking Total Recall suddenly.
Yeah. You start calling me Kuato soon. How about you, Chauncey? How you been?
I've been good. Working, watching stuff, reviewing, working.
Anything new that jumped out at you?
Yeah, I got to watch the first movie in the Fear Street trilogy, Fear Street 1994. Well, I got to watch all of them, but like the first one, I put out a review today of Fear Street 1994 for those who know R.L. Stine, Goosebumps, and things like that. So I really, really enjoyed 1994, the first one of the trilogy, because there's 3 and they're coming out each week. Netflix is doing like a 3-movie trilogy, which is like very cool.
That's soon, huh?
Yeah.
1 week
so
after
each,
another.
1 week after another, all 3 movies. And the movie isn't like an 80-minute movie or anything like that. The first one is an hour and 47 minutes. So they're definitely, they're all 3 are very thorough. So I really enjoyed that. Probably like my favorite slasher in the last slasher/supernatural movie I've seen in the last year or so.
Yeah, I've seen some really positive buzz and headlines from other writers and stuff throughout the Twitter webs and such. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Hello, Cecil in the chat. Cecil of the Horror Show, wondering how we got Fuego away from the Suns game. In your honor, Fuego, I have. You can't really tell, but it's purple back there. I got orange and purple. I'm trying to be a team player as much as possible.
I appreciate that. I'm actually glad to have my eyes away from it tonight because I'm really worried. So.
Well, we should be tight, but we'll get to the new movie, which only one of us has seen. 2 of us.
I saw it.
Well, F9.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't really like that franchise very much.
So
Tokyo Drift.
Nice and quick.
Yeah, I only watched the first 2 and think Tokyo Drift. That was it.
Tokyo Drift's not the one you want to leave off with. So quickly to the stats.
Stat me, Daddy.
Fast 9, the blockbuster is back, $70 million over the course of the weekend. Domestic. Quiet Place 2 with 6.2. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard with 4.8.
I saw that.
Peter Rabbit 2 with 4.7. Cruella just refusing to go away with 3.8. So real quick, Lindsey, F9, is it worth rejuvenating cinema for?
Man, F like 80% of that movie, but then like 20% of it actually is kind of great. I don't know, like when they're driving around.
Great? Did you say the word great? Did you mean, are you being ironic?
So the only film in this franchise that I would call good is Fast 5, and the only reason
I think everybody agrees on that. Yeah,
right. It just reaches a point where like the insanity just works, and it's either like when they start dragging the big safe around the city, or before they start dragging. It's kind of different for everyone. For me, it was when they threw 2 grenades to kill 1 dude. I'm like, oh, okay, movie, sure, let's just be insane. Yeah, just like the greatest of overkill. And this movie almost captures the safe scene's energy again, when the scene where they're driving around using cars that are like have magnets in them, doing things that magnets don't do because
magnets.
Physics. Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of great. They're like throwing cars at each other and like pulling things out of buildings. And I'm like watching it and like, that's not how magnets work. But I kind of wish that's how magnets worked.
Didn't they do that with the one that took place in New York City where a bunch of cars like fell out of a parking garage? Am I making that up? One of the Charlize Theron ones?
Ooh, yeah. Okay, wait. I can't believe I'm actually about to be the curator of the fast lore over here, right?
You protect that canon, Lindsey. Go ahead.
I'm gonna. So in Fast 8, they have a device, or Fate of the Furious, I should say. They have a device that lets the remote control cars that have CPUs inside of them, and so they start turning on all the cars and driving them towards the thing that they're trying to.
A lot of Teslas in New York City, apparently.
Or something. I don't know. Not a lot of VW bugs from the 80s, I guess. So they could just control every car that they see. And yeah.
So number score out of 5 out of 10. I know you don't really whatever. Just
honestly, it's like
something. Just give me something to chew on.
It's Fast and the Furious. Like if you like Fast and the Furious, it's a 5 out of 5. If you don't like Fast and the Furious, it's a 1 out of 5. Like if you're okay with Vin Diesel saying family. Like every other scene, like every fight scene that he's in, you can tell that he's gotten his contract that you can only see him getting punched on screen like 2 or 3 times per movie. Like the amount of damage in his fight scenes that I shouldn't say damage. What is this, a video game? Like he's got this big fight in this movie where he's fighting like 50 guys at once, and almost every punch and kick that he takes is off screen and implied by a facial expression and sound. There's so little bad things happening to Vin Diesel in this movie, despite the fact that he's fighting this guy that's supposed to be like the ultimate super spy, and he's John Cena, who's 3 times the size of Vin Diesel, who's a pretty big guy himself.
That's why they split The Rock and him up, because there was stipulations.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, too much testosterone, man. They just couldn't.
Neither of them wanted to be shown as weak or taking hits, and it's like, guys, you're actors. You're actors.
I heard that it was more on Vin Diesel's end that had a problem with The Rock.
I would probably
because I feel like Rock usually is okay with being embarrassed on screen, isn't he? Like he's worn a tutu. He's done so many different things where it's like, I feel like he would probably be the one that wouldn't have so much of a problem with that. But I heard it was more so Vin Diesel that didn't kind of like sharing it with The Rock.
I wouldn't be
like he was going to be overshadowed.
Yeah, because The Rock has that wrestling background, and that's very predetermined. Where no matter how strong you are, the script says what the script says. So I've seen him lose to Hulk Hogan, who's I don't know, twice his age. So
that was a great match, though. WrestleMania, I can 12, 14, whatever the hell it was.
I actually might go Google that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was when Hogan returned to his old corporate. Anyway, this isn't wrestling talk.
So
I was going to ask though, is Jordana Brewster still in the franchise, or because I've loved her since The Faculty, man? And
good pick.
Fun fact: I was in acting class with Jordana Brewster for a month and didn't realize it was her. She is very good at improv. She is absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I know. Clearly, it was a 2-way street on that one. Neither of us knew each other, but it was actually really good to see her in this movie because she probably doesn't remember me, but I'm always like, oh, it's Jordana. But she actually had a bigger part in this one than the last couple. She actually kind of got in on one of the fights, and because it's about Dom's long-lost brother, and Jordana Brewster is his sister. It's his brother as well. So yeah, it worked. Like, she was kind of superfluous, but like less superfluous than she's been in the past, if that makes sense. Like it was fun to see her really kind of do a few things.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it is
an underrated movie.
Yeah.
It is hard with the Brian character kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw is just completely divorced from the Fast.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
Is it really?
It's so good.
You're not being sarcastic?
Movie. No, I love that movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's a total like popcorn movie, but it's so good.
It is so good. Idris Elba. Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
He plays like bad guys really well.
Yeah,
he's very Black good Superman.
We're going to be talking about Idris quite a bit tonight because he's on a ton of trailers. So just let me be a nerd for a little bit before we go. A lot of people have been talking about how with Fast making, or excuse me, F9 making 70 million a week after Quiet Place 2 making 48 million, that theaters are officially back. But as far as the franchise is concerned, this isn't really that big a deal. Fast 9.
He's flexing on us over here, guys.
A little bit. Fast 9 is the sixth highest, and if you notice, these movies after about 2 weeks they just stop making money. 21 Days is probably that one point where you see everything flatten out.
Well, they do a lot better internationally, from what I understand.
Oh,
right?
yeah, they had that month start with China. China had Fast 9 for a whole month, but the other thing that's a little alarming, well, not alarming. It's just I think maybe we're counting the chickens a little bit. Fast was it won the box office with 70 million, but second place was 6.8 million. Wow. Yeah, Quiet Place 2, 1 week. Is it 1 week or 2 weeks removed? How long is Quiet?
I think it's almost a month now because it was Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, all right. So I'm an idiot. Never mind my stats. But
okay, we still love you.
But still, from 70, it seems like people went to the movie theater to see Fast 9, and that's it. Because usually when you have a number like that, there's something that breaks double digits, like 70 million, 12 million, 5, 8, whatever. But it's 76,444. Nothing really is pulling people out to go out to the theaters, but that could just be me overreading into it. I don't know if you guys have any insight or counter to what I'm saying, because apparently I'm off with my timeline anyway.
I mean, all the models are out the window right now in terms of what is like. How is Black Widow going to do next week? Not opening on the holiday, opening after the holiday. Like that's a weird move just by itself. I think everything is kind of just going step by step.
The holidays, what day is the 4th now?
It's on Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday. Although you've got the latest entry in the Purge franchise coming this weekend, and that's typally been a pretty solid franchise. So I mean, we'll see if people want to be
the 4th.
Maybe.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm gonna. Will it be available to Disney Plus Sunday night?
What, Black Widow?
Yes.
I don't know.
It's technically coming out July 9th, I'm pretty sure. So
that's way far after the 4th.
Yeah, a week from Friday is when Black Widow comes out.
Oh, so wait, they cleared July 4th? They're not even thinking about it?
Yeah.
That's extremely weird.
Disney Plus July 9th as well. So the whole thing.
Well, maybe they figure because more and more people are going out that people want to be sitting home this weekend.
That's entirely possible.
That's
I mean, barbecuing
point.
and hanging with the fam and stuff, So.
It's very strange. It's very strange how 2021 with movies coming back, everything seems like it's coming back to normal, but like at a really, really different dynamic than what we're used to.
It's funny they bring that up because I'm up here in Napa right now, and just people just are not wearing masks at all. I don't know how it is back in LA, but like if I go into a restaurant, no one will be wearing a mask if they don't work there. I'll be the only one. It's a funny feeling.
Oh, well, at these Suns games I've seen, and games in Los Angeles against the Clippers too, you've got full arenas of 18,000 fans. You don't see anybody wearing masks, man. So,
Okay.
yeah.
There you go.
And Australia, parts of Australia have re-locked down. So
Well, dingoes are eating babies. What are you gonna do? I mean,
Well, it's a weird kind of thing with it, though, because, I mean, supposedly, I mean, I guess the WHO organization came back out and saying everyone should be kind of masking up inside, but because of, you know, the chance of spreading it to people who are unvaccinated. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's that weird kind of gray area we're all in right now, where it's like, can I wear a mask? Should I wear if I'm vaccinated? But then it's also still the people who just aren't wearing a mask no matter what anyway. So
I thought it was the variants that they have to worry about, even if you are vaccinated, like the one in India and Brazil, that they might still cause a problem.
Well, Delta isn't with the vaccinations, particularly with Pfizer and Moderna, they're still shown to be very effective against the Delta. So people who are fully vaccinated and calculated with it are totally still very safe. I mean, there are, of course, breakthrough cases, but they are minimal. And when there is a breakthrough case, those people are usually asymptomatic or feel as though they have something of a slight cold.
Yeah, and that's my dude Chris Paul on the Phoenix Suns, fully vaccinated, and he got it. So yeah.
Fuego is completely sunsed out tonight. All right, so we're probably going to skate across some politics. So maybe talking about vaccines and masks, we can cut that there. A bevy of trailers were released since we last saw you, and some of them are heavy hitters, and I'd really like to talk about, at the very least, two, because I feel like there are two ends of the same argument or discussion, and you know, we can get to that. We can get deep into that. There's a lot to get into, because I think some of it is a cash grab. I think some of it is taking advantage of you know, again, for sometimes Hollywood thinks that they're telling the world how to do things, and sometimes it looks like they're just exploiting a moment in society. But of the trailers that were released this weekend, have any of you, is there something that stuck out to you and you either got excited about or were disappointed with? Has anything of what you've seen this weekend changed your opinion?
Well, I mean, I guess I can jump out and say, and I can be brief about it, because you and I, CP, talked about this on the...
Well, that's a different channel, so go ahead and talk fresh now.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, the horror channel, guys, everybody please go and watch the horror channel. Great guys.
No, fuck him. He made such a stink about this channel. No, love you, Cecil.
Yeah,
the horror show.
Yeah, he's playful about it, but I don't know. Sometimes I think he goes a little far. I can speak from personal experience.
Same team, buddy. Same team.
No, but Halloween Kills, you know, that was a trailer that, from what I understand, they weren't planning to release it when they did, but there was a leak. And there was somebody who was working at a theater, and was it supposed to be attached to Fast 9? I'm trying to recall, but
that's Universal. It makes sense.
Yeah, and so it was supposed to debut then, but apparently somebody got a hold of it and leaked this crappy version online, and so that's why it debuted like 6 or 7 on a weeknight, you know, this past week, as opposed to, you know, having that, you know, early morning debut like you typically see with trailers. And so they threw it out there, and it was a film that I was not particularly excited about, because 2018. I thought it was good, you know. The new Carpenter riff on the score I thought was especially awesome. But I've never been the hugest fan of that franchise. I like my killers with some just character and personality, you know, the Freddys and the Chuckies and stuff, as opposed to the stoic silent killer.
You watch your mouth.
but this trailer was pretty badass, man, and it did live up, at least to a degree. Who knows what the finished product will entail? It lived up for me to some of these bold declarations that Carpenter said about how it's like the ultimate slasher, and I'm like, well, the kill count looks pretty insane from you know, from the trailer, and that's apparently just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. And I know some people were complaining it spoiled too much, but it's like, you haven't seen the movie, you don't know the full extent of what's being spoiled. So I was impressed, and I'm I'm on the bandwagon now. So yeah.
Yeah, Cecil, just take some Midol, please. We were kidding. We love you. Just relax. Everything's fine, guys. Cecil, the horror show, down in the chat, please. His link is down below too. So same team. You can watch us talk even further about it, and hear Cecil's thoughts about some stuff, including exclusively horror news from Sunday night.
Yeah.
What about our other horror cohort, Chauncey? Have you seen the Halloween Kills trailer?
I did. I'm probably going to do like a dissection of it. Not dissection. I'm going to do a stop and go of it soon. Okay. Not full reaction because, especially this fucking the studio, they like to take money. So I'm going to stop and go so I can say commentary. Yeah. But I will say I honestly rolled my eyes throughout that trailer.
Really?
Especially the part of with every kill he ascends. Since the fuck when? Like, seriously. Yeah. When did that, this is my issue with this freaking friend. They have never been able to keep a backstory for this guy. That's why I will always say that, to me, Friday the 13th is the better franchise because they picked the lane. They picked Undead Jason and they stuck with it. Okay? They said, this mug is a zombie and that's it. And now all of a sudden, somehow, Lauren knows or whatever. Well,
Laurie Strode.
Yeah, well, every time he kills, he ascends. Where was that in the last movie? Where was that backstory in the last movie? What this was they saw that the last movie did well, and they decided we want more money. But how can we decide that this guy is supposed to survive a fire and then somehow start killing everybody? You got a whole town against this guy and it's going to take a whole movie to take him down. Suddenly he's supernatural.
Whoa, Cat. Even the cat's pissed.
Yeah.
Cat's like, fuck this movie.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's supernatural. They just need to pick a lane with this guy. Well, and I'm over it. I've been over him for a minute, but this even more had me rolling my eyes.
Chauncey, wouldn't you agree that the fact that he's killing everybody would show that he's not exclusively about Laurie, and maybe it's in Laurie's head that he's chasing her?
I don't think I don't think it's necessarily just, for me, it's not about the idea of, is it exclusively just about his family? Because they picked that at one time too. Remember where it was just he has to kill his family. He has to kill everybody in his family. And then suddenly it was he's just the shape and he's just a killing machine and he has no feelings. They have not been, it's gone back and forth. For me, it's not necessarily about whether or not which one they choose. It's more like the fact that they can't seem to choose. And this one just seems like it's pulled out of nowhere. I don't know if a priest is going to show up, if we're going to get some type of weird story that, once again, some type of coin was put on him or something. I know there was some backstory where he was part of some cult, had decided
the
that
Man in Black.
Yeah. And it was well, which is it? Which is it, guys? Either and that's the thing about how people talk about Halloween too when they defend it. Their main thing is, well, isn't it so much more scary that it's mysterious? No, it's not scary necessarily that it's mysterious because they have tried to explain it. If they had kept with the mystery, I'd be fine. I'd be like, okay, I'm just not supposed to know how this guy can survive all these times. Sure. But they've tried and they always backtrack. And at this point, it's just whatever they fill this decade about this guy. That's what we get every time.
So
and I can't even feel like he's badass necessarily. I'm like, okay, they gave him superhuman strength again. Cool, whatever. We've seen it. Jason.
So your big hang up is the fact that they're not really explaining what
it's not good storytelling. I just think it's lazy. It's a little bit of lazy storytelling. I think when John Carpenter, who I love, did the original one, the whole idea, I blame the fact that the third movie didn't do well, because the whole idea was that Myers was supposed to be in 1 and 2, and that the end of his story was when he got burned up, and that was it. It was more so he got out years later, and that was supposed to be the end of his story. We were supposed to get the 3rd one. We were going to do Meta. He's on television. And when that didn't do well, they made Michael Myers the main part of this franchise. But the problem was they didn't really flesh out how that was going to work. And they somehow, I guess, thought they were too good to make him undead zombie like they did Jason. So they just kept doing with this cult thing, or he's obsessed with his family. You don't really know how hard he got, hit or something. It's just, it's had the 3rd one done well, we would have had the classic Halloween of Michael Myers in the first 2, and we all could appreciate it.
I think the thing you have to give the Halloween franchise credit for is
I don't gotta give him credit for nothing.
While Friday the 13th is very straightforward, it's very straight to the point. The dude wants to kill people. Get out of my lake. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Don't fuck. I'm gonna kill you. Don't do drugs. I'm gonna kill you. Stay out of my spot. That's basically Friday the 13th.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, you killed my mommy. Now I'm gonna kill you. But Halloween. Throughout the franchise, they've always seemed to try to explain something, for better or worse. They've tried to, like you said, Chauncey, give some sort of lore to Michael Myers. Whether or not they've succeeded in the past is a different story. But I think with if you're just to take 2018 kills and ends and have them as this little trilogy that erases all of the previous history, I think the continuity is for storytelling's sake is quite solid, because it's right from 2018. I mean, you could tell the trailer opens with the end of 2018. And how often can you say a horror movie has continuity like that? I have very few where
the first one did that.
Well, yeah, we have 1 and 2.
Next night.
Sure.
Well, yeah, did it.
They're mirroring. Well, they're essentially mirroring it. Yeah, right.
I guess we can give them credit for copying themselves.
Also we need to give them credit because they've got that fire saw thing that they had in Army of the Dead but didn't use. But it looks like Michael Myers is going to use it to kill some fools, and that sounds dope.
It was the friggin' light bulb for me. I was just like, damn. I don't know.
I've
seen that in a horror movie before, but I mean. Nice thing about Friday, that to Chauncey's credit, obviously, pointing it out, is that, and CP knows, because I know you love this.
I'm trying to keep my mouth shut about Friday because I keep getting shit on no matter how much I say nice things about Halloween.
Yeah, they all sequentially link together. I mean, aside from like Jason X and stuff, but even those loosely connect. But Halloween is one of those weird franchises where like 1 and 2 were connected, and then 4, 5, and 6 were really that were all connected, and that's where they brought in a supernatural element with Myers, and they didn't turn Jason into a zombie until 6, and so they waited a while to do that, and then also H2O and Resurrection were connected, and then the 2 Rob Zombies were connected. So at this point, I'm not going to say Michael Myers is on the same level as like a Dracula or like all of the Wolfman, all of those Universal monsters, but I feel like but the point that I'm making is that I feel like with these new iterations, it's not so much that they're getting lazy, in my opinion, but that they're trying to just invent a new backstory, a new take on it, because not every take on Dracula has had the exact same lore and backstories. Lots of these classic monsters, these villainous horror icons, they've tried to put their own riff on it. Often for better or for worse, though, as Chauncey was saying. So, they're not always successful. So,
DMC, thank you. Hello, CP and all. They should have left Halloween franchise at H2O.
I liked H2O. Yeah, H2O was pretty solid.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not like I've disliked some of the movies. I actually have enjoyed them when we first had the first iteration of Laurie, when she first came back to the franchise, and that was when Jamie Lee Curtis had the short hair and she was well put together, had her son Josh Hartnett. It was a really good, it was a quality film.
LL Cool
you know,
J
I was like,
too, right?
LL Cool J, it all worked. I'm like, this is good. She got to go on with her life, yet he comes back. Okay, I can go with this. And then it all went over again. Then they killed her in the next one. They probably do that in this one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I'm here to say, as a Friday the 13th fan, I would be excited if I were Friday the 13th fans. Oh, Lindsey, I'm sorry, we didn't get your input on HK.
Oh, I mean, I the Saw thing was honestly the thing that stood out the trailer for me the most. I'd be like, and the rest of it was just like, all right, this just looks like a slasher movie. All right.
Wow.
Here's a question though. Yeah, I know. I've got.
Sorry, it doesn't have sharks in it for you.
Yeah. Okay. Look, if they take off that mask and it's a Michael Shark Myers, like, okay, then we got a movie going here. But everyone's always about Freddy versus Jason. Who would we put Michael Myers up against? Like, if we're gonna do a crossover event with him,
They keep saying Ash.
From
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Oh, that might be interesting.
Yeah, they had him in the comic books go against Freddy and Jason. So it was a direct sequel to Freddy versus Jason. They did a two-part comic series called Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. It's pretty good.
But and of course, diehard Halloween fans who, on the internet, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make enemies, guys, but you guys are just as obnoxious as Star Wars fans on the internet. You guys are annoying. They'll tell you that the Michael Myers counter is Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode and not Freddy vs. Jason. It's
she is.
Yeah.
If they do it right, she can. And she has been. She's been his main foil throughout the franchise. She's the one that takes him down.
Yeah, she's the most consistent, sure. But I wouldn't call her an horror. I mean, if you're doing like this versus,
yeah, she's an icon. Yeah.
Well, I mean, would you? Are there very many Laurie Strode T-shirts getting sold out there?
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, then how about this? How about Laurie Strode versus Sarah Connor? Then how would that? That took.
I'll take that. I'll take a Ripley.
Why would they fight?
Why would Freddy and Jason fight? It doesn't.
When you saw the movie,
yeah,
that's why they fought. Because killing
because
souls.
Sleep. That's why.
No one was ascending in that.
Is it bad? I kind of like.
What is he, a Highlander? Take someone and suddenly you get more power. What's going on?
Okay, maybe that's the crossover we need right there. Halloween versus Highlander.
Maybe there can only be one.
I think Laurie's making a bigger deal about how Michael Myers than really is the case. I think he's just killing people and she's taking it personal. It would be a hell of a twist if Michael Myers was just about, there was no sort of, it was just absolute chaos. There's no rhyme or reason to who he's killing. Meanwhile, Laurie thinks that, he's targeting her for some reason, but she's off her ass and wrong. That would be a nice touch as far as I would like to see.
I would like that movie. Like, look, I'm just telling you to leave me alone. That's it.
Right? Trying to bargain with them. But it's weird because in the first one, well, not the first one, the redo sequel, they took away the element of them being related, which I never really understood why they went that route of saying, oh, they're not related. That was just a rumor. Okay, dog. It was like 20 years or so of that. But okay, it was just something people just assumed. And I actually thought that was a good angle to have, that they were related. It was just so weird to kind of take that away from the lore of it. They
better pay it off if they're going to do something like that. Like, why even make a point to undo it if like, I don't know. It's interesting. It was
just weird that they made that a thing. And I was just like, why take that away? Once again, they can't make up their minds.
I want it to be noted that Chauncey has been shitting all over this and not me.
I don't care.
Well, you're shitting on Halloween through Chauncey.
Yeah, well, I'm a Friday the 13th fan. I like Jason more than Michael Myers, but I do
too,
like
but
some of.
I'm an asshole, apparently.
Yeah, I like some of the Michael Myers movie. I really do. I have never cared for the lazy storytelling they do and some of the gimmicks they pull, and then everyone just kind of eats it up.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone, but people who really love that. They just kind of, this is so great, the kills, and it's like, okay, the kills, cool.
The
all right.
Internet fans, just again, like Star Wars fans, makes me really not want to talk about Star Wars because there's some seriously terrible internet Star Wars fans, and the same can be said for Halloween, where it's just like, guys, you're echo chambering. Like, it's okay to speak negatively about something. They're not all perfect. You really need to get over that.
Yeah, it's just fandom in general, in my opinion, whether it's Marvel, whether it's somebody who loves a particular horror franchise, whatever. I mean, those apologists cling so tightly as opposed to just being honest about something not being quite as good as they think it is.
And I think we all have that thing too, that it's like we're able to forgive it despite it having just horrible flaws. Like me and The Purge. Those movies are dog shit. They're so on the nose, it's like painful. But I love them. I love how on the nose they are. I love how unapologetic they are. And it doesn't matter. They're trash, but I love them. It's my choice.
I love the first Purge movie. The first Purge movie?
Sure.
Not the first Purge, but
the
the movie
original.
that was the first.
The original.
Right. Yeah, that was
the prequel.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about
not the
prequel.
original.
Not the original. I'm talking about the prequel.
The first Purge.
The one that was to explain how the Purge began. I thought that was awesome. I also thought it was a very smart story too. So the way they kind of explained it all happening. So
thank God they didn't confuse it with the titling, because my brain hurts.
Right.
And honestly, I love that the Forever Purge is the Forever Purge and not the Last Purge. I was so worried that was the direction they were going to take it, but the Forever Purge sounds dope.
Yeah, and there was all of those people saying this was going to be the last one in the franchise, and the creator just the other day on Daily Dead was like, yeah, we're probably going to do another one. So.
Yeah, as long as they can make money.
Money trumps all.
Yeah.
Hey, you said the bit word of the.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean the T word. I didn't mean to do that. So
the quest for more money, to quote Spaceballs.
I love that movie. I watched it again the other day.
Just today, a Don't Breathe 2 trailer dropped. I don't know if anybody else had seen that. For Lindsey,
I saw it.
That's it. You just that's all I have to say.
I saw a teacher. I like the first one a lot until it kind of got to some of the weird stuff at the end, involving with like what's happening in the basement and some of the things that they do with some of those things in the basement. I was like, okay,
turkey basters.
Yes. I don't necessarily disagree with the person who did the thing, but I'm just not also thrilled that I saw it, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's a weird mix of a movie. Like I really like the first like 2/3 of it, then it kind of just falls apart for me. And the trailer looks interesting. It looks like it is a sequel to the first one. It looks like it is happening after the events of the first one. I could be wrong about that. So I wonder if they're going to bring that up, or if the events of this new one are inspired by the events of the last one. I said recently that I didn't think we needed a sequel to The Quiet Place, and then I ended up really liking The Quiet Place too. So I don't necessarily feel like Don't Breathe 2 is something the world needs, but maybe I'll end up liking it. Like when you're playing with sensory deprivation of any kind in horror, there's something to that, like sound in A Quiet Place, vision in a Bird Box. Even if Bird Box wasn't great, they still managed to have some fun stuff in there. And vision in the first Don't Breathe. Like there's fun to be had when you're taking things away from people that they assume are going to be there. So I'm interested in that, but I don't know. I'm kind of worried about this one kind of going off the deep end too.
I was just going to cut you off and say that it felt a little Blind Man John Wicky for a little bit.
Yeah. Part of what worked in the first one is because he was in his house that he knows the entire thing memorized. That's how he was able to get the upper hand. You see the dog. Now
he's a badass who he could feel water, and by the way the puddles are moving, he knows exactly where everybody. All right.
when he's in an unfamiliar environment, you think he would be at a horrible disadvantage if he is, truly 100% blind like that. Maybe that's the reveal of this one, though. He's only like 40% blind or something.
I
like
know
that.
how many footsteps it takes for me to get from my bed to the bathroom, and damned if I don't stub my toe at least once a month. So that's all I'm saying, and I can see. So this guy's a superhero.
I was gonna say I don't want to get canceled. I'm not gonna say.
Cancel.
Well, I was just gonna say, as he kills more people, he ascends to being able to fully see. Like it's just like it's like Michael Myers, Maybe
Ascension.
that's what happened.
I gotta retitle this episode to Ascension.
Yeah, he's like Daredevil or Geordie LaForge or somebody who like has enough of that sense sort of thing. I don't know. I really enjoyed the first film. I genuinely did. And I heard that after its box office success, they were all about making a sequel. But when Jane Levy decided she did not want to come back, I heard they drastically reworked what it was going to be about. And
did she say why?
I don't recall. It came out in what, 2016, 2017?
Yeah, 16 or 17. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, her star was rising, and I know she was getting set to do some TV work. She just had that musical series on NBC that I know did a couple seasons, and she won an Emmy, and then ended up getting canceled. So I think she was trying to distance herself from the genre, and so it was originally supposed to be him going after her and seeking revenge, and then they reworked it to make Stephen Lang the center of the story. And I'm not so sure how into that I am. I haven't watched the trailer. I know we're gonna do a reaction and discussion on the horror show, but the concept on paper, it's significantly less appealing to me because it makes me worry they're going to kind of anti-hero him a little bit. And yes. I'm not so into that idea because he's a pretty sick son of a bitch. So I don't know. I guess I won't know for sure until I see the finished product, which is coming in August. So.
And you will see what Fuego referenced, you can see on the horror show as hosted by our Lord and Savior Cecil. You might not even be here.
My cohort in crime, who I've worked with for many years now.
Cecil's an absolute sweetheart. We're having fun, Cecil. It's our turn to talk. What do I have next on the list here?
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Yeah.
We are not talking about that. We don't have time. So Netflix is releasing a movie that only has a fall date, and it's called The Harder They Fall, which features Idris Elba. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's the Western Ensemble, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
And it's a mostly, if not all, black cast. It's a Western. It's still kind of got like a modern action-y feel, and holy fuck, a genre that's probably about 40 years old gets a rejuvenation, and doesn't have to do anything to make you feel like they're delivering a message. It's just a fun looking movie. Yeah. I don't know if any of you have seen this trailer, but it just looks like it's a train heist movie, and not unlike Con Air, which that may be a terrible analogy for some people, but Idris Elba is I guess he's a prisoner on some train in the Wild West where they're going to save him and get him out of there. And why does her name keep slipping my mind? Regina King directed One Night in Miami. I always forget her name.
She's such a good actor too.
Yeah, yeah. It looks fun. I can't believe I'm actually saying that about a Western, because usually Westerns seem a little slow for me.
Not your thing.
Well, yeah, they usually seem to take a little long as far as I'm concerned. But I was really intrigued by this because it seems like they've turned up like the action and like the heist element isn't like, it's not Ocean's 11 level heist. They have a goal, and it seems pretty simple, and I don't know if anybody else feels as strongly as I do about this Western coming to Netflix.
I hadn't even heard of it, but this cast is amazing. You
Yeah.
got Jazzy Beats in there too, Delroy
Yeah.
Lindo. Like
Yeah.
this movie looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's always fun when Idris plays a bad guy villain, sort of too, which he's sort of doing. He always seems to have so much fun doing that as well. So I don't watch anything he's in. So I mean,
100% agreed.
Chauncey, did you see Concrete Cowboy, the one he did with the actor who plays Lucas from Stranger Things?
Yeah,
that was solid too. I mean, it's not like full on Western, but based on true events.
True story, yeah.
This area of Detroit where it was at one point kind of farmland and just raising horses and stuff like that, and it was slowly the gentrification like just took the entire area over, and his son played it's Caleb something, but basically Lucas from Stranger Things. He's a kid who is just going through a rebellious phase, and his mom was like, "Nope, you're going to live with your dad," and just drops him there, and the way that they kind of work through their issues and just kind of strengthen their relationship. That's a Netflix exclusive as well, if I'm not mistaken. So it's really good.
Cool.
Yeah, chat. I just want you to know that what I meant was the film itself just seems fun. Without anything else attached to it, it just seems like a fun movie that you don't really have to devote much of anything to. There's the messaging is the plot. That's it. These people are going to save their cohort, and I'm assuming they're going to run into some problems. So
No, it's gonna
more
go
than
perfect
enough.
for
Yeah. It's just a completely boring movie. We got him. All right, we're done.
The essence
Roll
of drama
credits.
is no conflict.
Yeah, intro resolution movie. What else do we got here? That is
Also,
not
I love kind of I like when
I'm
he
sorry,
does
Lindsay. I
occasional
keep
cowboy
stepping
movies.
on you.
Oh no, you're fine. It wasn't great, but what was it, the Magnificent Seven remake a few years ago with Ethan Hawke and Chris Pine? I kind of like not Chris Pine, Chris Pratt. I kind of liked it. It wasn't great.
Washington.
Yeah,
The
Washington.
lead of that movie.
I am so sorry. I wish the two white guys. And
you named Chris Pratt of all people to name
Yeah,
out
that's
of
true.
all
Yeah,
that cast.
Denzel.
Well, I said Chris Pine. I wanted it to be Chris Pine. I didn't want Chris Pratt. But
Wait, what? They redid Magnificent Seven?
A couple years ago, yeah.
it was super fun.
What year was it? 2017? Because I feel like when I was in Denmark, I was
No, it was.
completely different.
Might have been 18 or 16. God, I know it was in the later aughts, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
16, 17's a blur to me because I was mid-divorce and in Denmark, so
Totally understand.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah.
Was it
That
good?
was a good one. That was a good one.
It's a remake. It's a remake of
A
a
remake of a
remake.
remake, I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
seven
Yeah.
seven
Seven
samurai.
which they just keep redoing that story, man. Whether it's the Mandalorian or whatever else. They
If it
just
ain't
go
broke,
back to that
if it ain't
dynamic.
broke, just tweak it.
If it ain't broke, just tweet it. Oh.
Oh boy. Yeah, I love westerns though. I mean, Hostiles with Rosamund Pike recently was really good. Wasn't a big fan of News of the World, the one with Tom Hanks, but the little girl was great in it. I'm a sucker for westerns, especially when they veer into horror, like Bone Tomahawk. Good.
316 to Yuma I enjoyed, but News of the World felt very
That's the epitome of slow, boring.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Western. Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I'm like, no, maybe if I need to sleep, I'll throw that on. But I'm all set with that. Thanks. I'm excited. I'd love to be opened up more to a genre that really just. I mean, how often do you have, fast-paced westerns lately? I mean, they were all the rage in the '60s, but it's been quite a minute.
Yeah. That's kind of
You
a
know
lot.
what they need to do? I want Fast and the Furious 10 to be set in like 1750 or something like that, and it's all about like actual
horses?
horsepower. Yeah.
Well, actually, that makes me think. Have they? So they've gone to space, right? Have they traveled through time yet? Because they could travel through time back to the
Wait,
late
did they
1800s.
really go to space? They really went to space?
They,
That's what I heard.
That's what I
Two
heard.
of them in the third act do
Oh,
leave the atmosphere for a moment.
Isn't it like Luda and Tyrese? I want to say that do it.
I was trying to avoid spoilers, but yeah,
It's
Luda
in
and
the
Tyrese.
trailer, right? I mean, there is a hint in the trailer.
No, they do officially go into space in this movie, and it's kind of adorable, but also just hilariously dumb. But it's kind of adorable. Like you kind of you have to look at it and be like, oh, that's cute. Some capacity, I think.
All right, so we have 3 more trailers to talk about. I'm going to save 2 because the 2 ends of the coin, and we might get a little heated with it. So the third one, the third from the last is the what is your official title? The Many Saints of Newark, which is the prequel film to The Sopranos. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It was just released yesterday. Again, if we went live Monday, we would have missed a couple of things.
Works out sometimes. And I've actually never seen.
And all of your silence makes me think that that none of you have either seen Sopranos or this trailer.
I've seen Sopranos. My father, I came from Newark. That's my birthplace, and I grew up there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm like most people from Newark, kind of feel like, okay, like we'll see, it's like, because with the Sopranos, it was always funny because they filmed down net, which was like 20 minutes from our house and things like that during that time. Because down net is like another town of Newark or whatever. So, there was always a thing. We'd be like, oh yeah, but we'd always feel like, okay, the mafia type thing of Newark and whatnot. And I guess, Many Saints in Newark. I mean, when I heard about it, I was, I guess, semi-interested to see what they do. But I also wonder, I don't know what exact years is going to be taking place, because it also, one of the things I said when I saw it, I'm like, are they going to talk about the riots that happened in Newark? Like,
have you seen the trailer?
I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't catch the trailer yet.
It seems pretty evident that
because my mom was in those riots, or she was a kid during those riots. It was a whole thing in town during that time.
Was she okay?
In that city. Oh yeah, she was fine. But a little boy she knew, that's what started it off. When he was taking the trash out, he got shot. And it was a whole thing. And that's when my mom and our family, when I wasn't around then, but they were living in the projects, and it was like a huge thing because Newark was also at that, getting predominantly black as well. And down net is the place where a lot of Portuguese people live, because it's a predominantly black city, but there's also pockets of other places, because you have like North Newark, which is like mainly Puerto Rican and Dominican, and then you have down net, which is Portuguese. So you have the West Ward and East Ward, and all the other wards, which are predominantly black. And there's still that weird tension, especially when you go down net if you're a black person and things like that. So I don't know how they're gonna, it's interesting how they might address some of those things.
Yeah.
But I'm also I don't have high expectations, so I guess I kind of just was like, I guess I was going to wait till other people watched it, because I don't feel like watching something about my city and being really frustrated about it.
So from the trailer, at least, which is, again, just 2 minutes, they do make it seem like the events of the past of Tony Soprano are set against Newark of the past. And they do show clips of the riot. And so it certainly has, even if it's just a thing where they mention like, oh shit, don't go outside, it looks like it, they're filming it. There's enough that you're aware of it. So who knows how much of that movie it will take place, considering they're the Italian mob, and my education of the Newark riot has a lot to do with race and not. I don't.
Yeah, it was a part of like the Watts riot and all other things that were going on across the city in that time. In other predominantly black cities and neighborhoods.
Right. So I can't imagine how they would shoehorn the mob into that, but I said it in my reaction that, you know, it's nice to have a backdrop of something that really happened against your fictional story to give people a bearing of when this takes place.
Yeah.
But neither of you two, Lindsey or Fuego, have seen it, or are you either familiar with Sopranos?
I mean, I know what it is. I've just never quite gotten around to seeing it.
It's a singer.
Yeah. I worked in a call center for a cable company the year after it ended, and people were still telling horror stories of, you cut out right in the finale of Sopranos.
Yep. Don't stop believing or whatever. You see, that's the thing. I've never seen the show, but I have so many friends who love it and have urged me to watch it. But it's Sopranos.
Knowing the ending, it sucks.
Yeah, I know. It makes it kind of like why, you know, but between that and Breaking Bad, I get so much shit from so many people for not having watched either of those shows, but just neither that much my flavor. I know people are excited about this one, just to, I mean, granted,
I was.
Oh, you were? Okay.
I was excited. I watched the trailer and I was like,
and it's going direct to HBO Max, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, HBO Max, I mean, they're dual releasing it, so
it'll air on the channel, but also be available on Max. Okay, well that makes sense, you know, since that's where it originated and everything. It's sad about Gandolfini, you know, that they couldn't incorporate him for like modern and then flashbacks.
They do have his voiceover. They
do.
Okay. In the trailer, at least, they have a voiceover, and his son is playing him.
That's
who doesn't. Yeah, I mean, he looks sort of like him, but not completely like him. And he has no acting credits, so you know, just fuck it, put him in. Nepotism, let's go.
Yeah, well, I mean, look what happened with Paul Walker. They're just like, hey, let's get your brother for. You know,
yeah, but that was just replacing a face. He wasn't acting.
It did actually work out pretty well in what was that movie called? Straight Outta Compton, when they cast Ice Cube's kid to play Ice Cube. Like that was.
Yeah, he did look like him.
Yeah.
And he's actually a pretty good actor, that guy.
Right?
He is. An actual actor who's doing something. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was really funny in the Someone Goes West. It was the one with Aubrey Plaza.
Oh yeah, Ingrid Goes West. He played her landlord. Yeah, I remember that. That was
he's
a good
actually
movie.
He's carved out comedic timing. Like I thought he was just going to be doing more serious roles after Straight Outta Compton, but he's shown that he's funny. You know, and he's got versatility.
Well,
so
Ice Cube's funny too.
Hell yeah!
People forget Friday, I guess. Or maybe Fuego forgets Friday.
No, I don't forget Friday. No, I don't. Well, I mean, and even the 21, 22 Jump Street stuff. I mean, Cube.
Oh, that's right.
Cube has done a lot of comedy. So.
Yeah. All right. So I'm the idiot. Shit.
Nah,
all right. So.
General rule of thumb: always assume yourself as the idiot. That's not to you, CP.
I should have that just like on a constant. I'll get a shirt that just says "When all else fails, I'm an idiot." That we'll just get that done. So the last two trailers are Candyman and Karen. Where shall we start? Because I feel like they're very similar in what they're trying to put across, and I think they're the opposite ends of the spectrum. And if you disagree with me, by all means, I'm more than willing to hear how so and whatever. But should we start with the silly, or should we start with the thing that looks like it's a genuine movie?
Well, I think Karen's going to win the Oscar for Best Picture, so I think we should clearly lead off with.
All right. So Candyman.
Yes, thank you.
Candyman. Another trailer was released, and
God damn, does it look good?
It looks fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Another movie, and another thing I said, I forgot last week, or maybe I said it with you guys on Horror Show, Fuego, that, you know, this is still a horror movie. If you just want to be freaked out by a dude in a mirror, there's that surface level to it. But there's far more to this movie, and this is going on only 2 minutes of trailers. When they have the shadow puppets with the police, and they've changed the lore of the Candyman, his story or his lore, I guess, to be a man who was murdered by police, which is quite prevalent. And I think they did so masterfully in the trailer. And again, it doesn't feel like it's beating you over the head with it. It just feels like it's a part of the story that created this character who's trying to haunt the town. Anybody else thoughts on the Candyman trailer? How you felt about it?
It really feels like something is coming. Like there's just like this sense of doom and dread in the trailer itself that it like just kind of makes the maybe this is just me just buying into just the style of the trailer. But as I'm watching it, I'm just being like, man, this really feels like something. Like I know that sounds vague. Like you watch like Karen, you like, oh, it's just some piece of shit no one's gonna remember in a month.
Hold
you
that
watch
thought.
The Candyman trailer, and you're like, this feels like it might get into the zeitgeist. And like really,
it feels like there's layers to it where
like
you can get so much more from that. Yeah.
Yeah, meat on the bones. Maybe that's what I mean. I don't know.
Sure.
I am psyched to high hell. And I've only really seen parts of the original Candyman. I need to get on that. Like I expect. I mean, time. I know. I'm sorry. I've never seen Godfather either. Rip me a new one. It's okay.
I'm kidding. But Philip Glass score alone in that original film is just like, phew, damn, it's so good.
Which they've emulated in the trailer.
Yeah, and the performance. Goddamn, is he? That voice.
And Tony Todd, Tony Todd's voice does appear. That made me feel. Well, for the longest, people thought Tony Todd wasn't even going to be in the movie, and that would have been a fucking bummer and a half. But he's in the trailer at the absolute very least. Fuego. I know you probably talked a little bit about this, but beat the dead dog.
I saw some people after we finished the news and reacted to the trailer and did these various discussions about it. They're upset with this presumed lore change, but
really,
I'm honestly not 100% that it is going to be a lore change, because I have my own theories about this movie, especially with some of the things we have seen in both of these trailers. Now, I did in this new trailer miss the Destiny's Child remix song, because that just really set the tone so wonderfully in that previous trailer. But I have this theory that maybe Candyman is actually, you could keep that original lore from the 90s film and make it more of like a passing of the mantle sort of thing. And so maybe that was how this spiritual whateverness started, and then maybe somebody else takes on the mantle, and then they in turn get killed by officers, as opposed to a group of racist townspeople centuries before or whatever. And this artist, he starts to research, and he in turn starts to get overcome and overwhelmed with the presence of Candyman, and maybe it could be something that is passed along and kind of takes somebody over, so to speak. But just the initial impetus of it and the spark that started it all so they could make them both work.
So what you're implying is the slavery aspect stays, but this is just further along the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
I could be totally wrong, obviously.
Well, yeah, it was interesting that what they the limited stuff they showed in the trailer of what is perceived to be the original Candyman is a guy giving candy to kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really put out there if he's a bad dude. Is he doing corrupt stuff, or is he just a guy giving candy to kids? So it's very, very open as far as what his deal is, and we know what happens to him. thanks to the incredible shadow puppet work. I really, really dug that. I don't know why that struck me so much, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, they had that in the previous little teaser, right? The one that they put out like 6-8 months ago.
I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, they showed just that, and Nia DaCosta, I believe is the name of the director, and she did this fantastic film with Tessa Thompson and Lily James called Little Woods. That it's just a small little indie drama, but anytime I can bring it up, and I'm sure just the great performance that she got out of those actresses helped her to get this job, and it was just so incredibly directed for what I think was her debut at the time a few years ago. And so from a stylistic standpoint, I'm all in, but I'm very curious if this could be a horrible death transpires, and then the spirit and the essence of Candyman just comes and imbues somebody with the power of vengeance. So
Chauncey.
Yeah, I think it looked good. I mean, I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't know. I think most likely they'll just add to the lore or something, like, something else had to have happened since the slave times, So, and I think this movie just basically might just add to that. Cause it'll be, especially if Tony Todd's voice is actually in there. Like, it would be kind of weird to me to like have his voice there and it's just like some other guy is the actual guy.
Well, yes, somebody in the chat said that Tony Todd's voice is of a different character. Tony Todd is in the movie, but he's not Candyman. He's just.
Well, also, isn't the woman from the original one in there? Yes, I saw her in there, and like she's in there. And
two of them.
Two of them. Yeah. Vanessa Williams as well. Not one of the Vanessa Williams is in there.
Not the Vanessa Williams.
Not the Vanessa Williams that most people know. But this one, she's done a good amount too as well. She's in there as well. So, to have those people there, it would seem weird, especially if the Vanessa Williams character is there, since she was in those other ones, to have it so this is just something else in a total different lore. That wouldn't make much sense, because then you just be having faces to have faces necessarily, which I guess is okay, but it doesn't have the same punch, to not have people from, with that kind of history. In terms of like the police brutality element, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it'll be interesting, especially if there's like some revenge on the cops or something somehow, which the trailer seems to kind of hint at. But I also, I don't know. I feel like it's a thing where some people, it's kind of like with the Them situation, like the Amazon series, where, as you'll see, it's a mixed bag. Like I feel like Black horror fans or like Black viewers are, there's a certain sentiment I've seen where it's like, for some of them, it's like, we need to know about this stuff. We need to know our history. Which I agree with knowing the history, but I also think that, Hollywood has a tendency to be exploitative, and they don't really always know how to handle things like that. Not everyone's a Jordan Peele in that regard.
We'll get to that.
And then you have it. So, and even if they are a Jordan Peele, I think there's also a little bit where I feel like some Black viewers, I do see as another sentiment, and I share it sometimes, where you just want to see a movie with Black people in it. And it doesn't always have to be something so like thrown at us. This kind of makes sense because of this makes sense in particular because of Candyman and what it was about originally anyway. Sure. But I think still people might have been, I think I'll be interested to see how people respond to them inserting the whole police brutality aspect in it. Because I think some people are kind of a little tired of some of that being thrown at you, where you just want to watch a good movie.
That's why I brought up before that this Western movie, it's just a change of pace. It just looks fun. Black cast, nobody's making a big deal over anything. It's just a story. There's nothing else to it. And man, remember those? Because wow, I'd like more. Oh, excuse me, Sean, €5 in the super chat. Thank you. Never seen Godfather, a must-watch. Karen will likely be crap, but thoughts on Lakeview Terrace, which Karen seems a ripoff. All right, so
that's interesting, actually.
inevitable segue. The final trailer that we'll be talking about, which of course is Karen. The thing that troubled me about this is that BET is producing this movie. I feel like this might be a bit of a cash grab on a bit of a cynical take, if I could be so bold. It seems comical, to say the absolute very least. It doesn't seem any less different than the Quaid movie where he was in a house and of course he had to wear,
I think it was called
The Intruder, right?
I saw it. Yeah.
He was wearing a red hat and he didn't want black people living in his house. And you know that.
But he was also lusting over the wife. So was it really about black people not living there? So
well, I mean, I meant like the metaphor, the subtext, where this. I mean, there's a line in the trailer where she says, "You're just slaving away in the kitchen," and it's like, do you have to be that on the nose?
Well, and that's what people argued, and I mean, some people argued about them. And especially with the excessive violence of the series, I still haven't seen it. And it's been argued about other stuff like Antebellum, obviously. One thing that I find, I don't want to say odd, but this is where I want to ask Chauncey, what do you think about the fact that like stuff like this coming from BET and then also them and Antebellum coming from primarily black creative teams too? Do you think that they're, I mean, are they going too far, or what's your thoughts about it coming from these kind of creative teams, I guess?
Well, I think have y'all ever watched Boondocks?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so what there was said about BET when it comes to like that network. It's questionable, right? Like who owns it?
MTV,
and when you follow
right?
the money, all of that stuff. It's questionable about what they push as so-called black content sometimes. Mm-hmm. I'll say this because I don't need to ask for press access for anything. So, so what they push for, black content has always been somewhat, questionable in terms of the reality shows they push and things like that. Sometimes they got some good ones there, but most it's, other times it's questionable. It was the same thing with them, right? With them, we found out that like all but one of the directors was white. That there was only one director, and she was given the most horrible episode of that series, where it was the murder of the baby and the R word and stuff going on all at once. So they gave the black woman to deal with all that, and then they did the brutality for all the white guys and stuff who did all the other directing. Yet Leah Waithe, or whatever her name is, not Leah Waithe. Is it Leah Waithe? I think Leah Waithe was the one behind this, the executive producer, but because she's black, there's this whole thing of, it's fine. But just because, we saw this also, I think there's also the question with Bad Hair that came out with Hulu, that horror movie about black women and their hair, but it was made by this black guy who, just like Chris Rock tried to have another thing about good hair. It's like, you don't have the skill set or the range. You know what I mean? And just because you have the same skin tone doesn't mean that kind of struggle to write that kind of story, And I think there's this weird thing on both ends. There's this side of Hollywood that's like, they're black, give them a black movie and let them say whatever they want about it. And it's cool because we won't get in trouble because this black person is behind it. So it's cool, and I think, as others have said before, you got to look at sometimes who's behind it and what their motivation is for some of that, and are they doing a cash grab? Because black creators in Hollywood are not above being sellouts, right?
Sure.
So if they get,
Money's
a green light for a good amount of money to do some movie that Hollywood is saying, hey, we really need a race movie right now, but we want to make it horror, because Jordan Peele or something. You got some of them who will take the check, So I think I wouldn't do a blanketed statement. I don't think everyone should be telling certain stories, even if you have skin tone for the same skin color as the people who the story you're supposedly trying to tell, because you might not have the range. Like Jordan Peele's a smart guy. You know what I mean? He knows. I mean, we saw with Key and Peele with that movie. You know, we're even seeing it with Key's one about coming out on Apple Plus or whatever, where it's like it's kind of a midsummer spoof sort of thing where it's like a black couple hiking and they get drawn into this all white cult that takes them into a musical against their will. Like these people I could trust to do that because I've seen their storytelling.
Sure.
Their comedy, they seem to get it. And then there are black creators in Hollywood and stuff who don't. And they're hacks. And it's okay to call someone a hack. I mean, I know white people, they tiptoe, but I can call someone a hack. You know, if I'd be like, that's a hack. That guy, that girl, whatever, is a hack. Just because we're black don't mean all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I don't got to defend everybody. If I see your work and it's shit, you know, it's shit. You know, some of them don't have the range.
So, do you think maybe the fact that, you know, right in the front of the trailer that it says a BET production, that I obviously I'm not well versed on society and that community, is it dangerous to perhaps let the black community know that it's okay, this movie, we've made this movie for you?
Well, I don't know. Is it for them? Is it for us, the black community? I mean, it was a whole thing.
That is a good question.
With that movie, and everyone was sorry. It wasn't just black people. I mean, honestly, it's a cash grab. I will say though, you know, I know it's kind of like I kind of saw it as a B movie, good exploitation film. Like, you know, we had those in the 70s and stuff, and they were fun. I even watched some of them. They're fun to watch. You know, they feed into certain over the top stereotypes or not so over the top stereotypes, and you know what you're getting with them. I honestly don't think Karen is trying to be the next Get Out or anything like that.
I hope not.
I don't think that was their intention. I think they saw we could do a B movie that plays on certain things, a little bit more hokey, and people will watch it as something to watch and forget about.
I guess what I mean is this a story that we really need? Is this something that we should be, I don't mean to say wasting time on, but, you know, you're giving roles and cast and crew work to black actors, creators to do this thing that we know that there's racist neighbors. We know that, like, this is something that's going on. Like there's you know, this isn't fiction. We live it. We you know, anybody turns the news on at least once a week, you'll hear about some version of this story. What does this film think it's going to add to society? I mean, I could understand if the argument was, well, you know, it's a change of pace. It's a imagine if type deal, but it's stuff that's happening.
Yeah, but I mean, sorry, Chauncey, I don't want to interrupt you there.
No, I was just going to say not every movie has to be educational. You know what I mean? That's the problem too, I think. And I'll just say, you know, not, you know, coming at you or anything, but I feel sometimes white critics have a tendency to want to make it so that if a film is predominantly black, that it always has to say something, or it has to like serve a purpose of some sort. Sometimes a movie is just a cash grab, and they want to, you know, take on what everyone's talking about. Karen is a popular hashtag. Why not make a movie? White people do it all the time.
That's fair. I guess, you know, I guess if it were the same, if it were white people, and the name of the movie were Karen, it's the same premise, only, you know, just a stupid woman filming people who aren't wearing masks in a supermarket. I would think it's a cash grab. I just don't think, you know, it's something that we know that, you know, this isn't fiction. This is stuff that, you know, we're experiencing. You're wasting money on this. I mean, if this were an indie film, it'd be a different story.
I think it feels like an indie film, to be fair, though. I mean, it's going direct to a cable network, you know. So I doubt they spent a lot of money on this movie. You know?
Oh no, it's going theatrical.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I thought it was going direct to the network, but
if it goes direct to the network, then I reserve most of what I said. But I feel like if you're going to put that much money and investment into something like that, why a story that isn't that fresh at all?
Well, because of the hack aspect, you know, the fact that they're just jumping on a trend, and I mean, you know, as somebody said, that I just watched a great blaxploitation film from the '70s called Sugar Hill the other day, and that's it's very entertaining. It was a patron request for us from our buddy Sam Glass, and so I mean, yes, I don't think this is really trying to be Shakespearean theater. If it had gone in a more darkly comedic direction, as opposed to, I mean, maybe it's trying to take itself so seriously in the trailer, and then we find out, oh, it's actually it's trying to be so serious that maybe it is trying to be funny, and there's some misinterpretation of tone. Maybe we won't know that until, you know, one of us decides to jump on the sword and watch it. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't impressed with the trailer, but it didn't grind my gears, you know, in any like crazy fashion, because I've seen films that tackled this subject and did it far better. So
yeah. And Chauncey, I'm trying my best not to you know, to rattle any cages here, but I feel like something like all I think about is the internet backlash with stuff, and I feel like when it comes to anything that if a woman is in, anything that a woman is directed, a person of color is in or directed, I feel like we're gonna get that. This is woke. I feel like we're gonna get that for at least a week, and there's gonna be that repel for at least the first week. That the only reason we're getting movies like this is because people hate the right wing. But
whose fault is that, right? Like, anytime, like, there could be a movie that literally just has a black person as the lead, and maybe it's a switch from something from the book or whatever, and suddenly, oh my gosh, woke Hollywood at it again. Yeah. Meanwhile, you've had so many movies that have literally had white dudes in yellow face, white dudes playing like just inserted in other cultures where we know they would not be at all. And none of them have ever, it's only when it's the reverse. If you have anything where there's a gender swap or anything like that, it's automatically put into the woke culture thing. Right. And that's not inherently what sometimes it is. Sometimes they just literally changed it up and decided they wanted someone else, like with the Little Mermaid and other things, like, or this whole thing with Snow White being, I think she's Puerto Rican now or something. You know,
also the Cinderella on Prime that they just had to trailer for today, you know, with her being a Latin lady, you know.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, honestly, anytime someone of color is cast and it's not a white person being the center of attention, you usually have the conservative right that's going to be like, oh, woke culture at it again, and it's an overstatement. Yes, there is woke stuff with horror and things. That is very much a thing at times. Sometimes, absolutely. But it's not to the degree that that sometimes the far right makes it out to be. Not at all.
And to play devil's advocate, Lin-Manuel, he had to apologize last week because his movie in the Heights, is that the title of it, In the Heights? Mm-hmm. He had to apologize because he didn't have a black Latino in his film, and I feel like that's the other end of things, where, you know, it's a movie a movie about Spanish people, Latin, and the cast is 100%, but you know, people in Hollywood complained because it wasn't completely represented.
No, that's not why people in Hollywood complain. It wasn't just people in Hollywood. It was Afro-Latinos who often get erased when it comes to Latino representation. We have a great movie coming out called Zola, and the lead girl in that is Afro-Latina. And when it comes to Latin representation, where some people squawk so high about this, that, and the other, hardly any of them are mentioning how great that movie is and what the reviews and stuff it's getting.
It actually came out today, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's based on the Twitter thread or something. I almost got tickets for it last night because there wasn't a game on it.
I'm excited for it. I think it looks amazing. But this is the thing, that young woman, the woman who's playing it is Afro-Latino. But this is the thing, sometimes when certain people push that thing, we need more Latino and Latinx representation. What they really mean is white Latina and Latinx representation. And so when they got that with this movie In the Heights, it was like, oh, it's so great. This is great. But there's still the racial dynamic in there that it's very, as someone who has a mother who watches telenovelas all the time, I know for sure that mostly what I see is white Latinos and stuff on the shows that I have had to sit down and watch with my mother and stuff. And it's very rare that we'll see someone who's our color and things like that. So, I mean, that was straight up, that was racial.
Yeah, it's something that I've heard from all my friends of color. They're like, whether you're, black or, Hispanic, whatever it is, like, there's more of a just embrace, especially in the entertainment industry, if you are a lighter skinned person of color versus the opposite, so.
The thing is, none of this is black and white. None of this is straight. There's so many different layers to it, because when you talk about Latino representation within the Latino community and stuff, there are Latinos who are light-skinned, white, passing type Latinos who, even though they'll scream from the rooftops, we need more Latino representation, they somehow forget Afro-Latinos in that. So they've got their own flaws. Neither of these sides are perfect, right? I mean, the far right is definitely not perfect. But even within the left of things or whatever, and the so-called wokeness, sometimes there's extremes that are ridiculous, and some of them have their own hypocrisies, as we saw with the Latino thing of representation. I was just saying, I think the In the Heights thing was kind of, especially given that neighborhood that he was specifically he knew he grew up around Afro-Latinos. He straight up whitewashed that neighborhood. That neighborhood in particular is very much Afro-Latino. That was the issue they had with that.
I think a big thing with that is like it's the way that Disney keeps wanting pats on the back for like, oh hey, see, there's a gay character in the background. We're representative. Like if you're going to put a big deal about how like your movie is representative of things, like actually represent things. Don't just take a play at it. Like don't just like go for the easy pat on the back. Actually have all the groups in there that people want to see in it. There, it's not hard.
It really isn't. Write a character like a character, no matter what they are, and they just can't seem to do that. If it's black people in a movie, and I read one time, I don't know for those, if y'all ever, write scripts or whatever. I read one time that when someone has to submit for the script, they literally have to make it so their character, who they maybe specifically want to be black, they have to say something about their blackness in the script. In order to establish that this person has to be black. If not, then the automatic thought process is this character is white, unless they mention about being something other than white. Which shows you that in Hollywood, even in 2021, the default for characters that are not racially designated is very much still white. I
can actually attest to that. I love the Animorphs books growing up. And it wasn't until I'd read a few of them that I realized that Cassie was black, and in my head they were just all white. Like it just that's a total anecdotal personal thing, but I had as an 8-year-old me, I had kind of whitewashed everyone and completely missed the fact that one of the main characters was black. I mean, they never made like a huge deal about it, but still, like I'm guilty of that too. It happens.
I guess what I'm proposing, asking, whatever, is at what point is it just out there that the movie's the important part? I can't tell you. If you told me that Ripley was a black lesbian, I don't care.
That'd be dope.
Ripley's
that sounds fun. Like
yeah. She's a great character. I don't know why some elements need to take precedence over the story itself. And I feel like both extremes are really kind of steering some things that end up fucking up certain stories from certain sides. I don't know if that's just me that feels that way, but you know, I don't have a problem with anything, and it seems like there's times where, you know, when they go like again, I saw this Karen trailer, and it was just so on the nose, and it was like, why? What is the purpose of this? And I couldn't help but think, okay, so I can't imagine. Again, this is me. I have no idea. I can't imagine the black community thinking, oh yeah, this is a movie for us. This speaks to us. And on the other side, I can't imagine a white person who's perhaps a little bothered about how they feel like they're being represented less and less. I can't imagine how they're gonna feel happy at all about this movie. It just feels to me like this movie. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like,
I'll tell you that. No, go ahead. No, I was gonna say, watching the trailer, the quality, because I'm the guy that's always watching like your shitty Pure Flex movies and like your super right wing, like the quality. Of
I've watched one too many Dinesh D'Souza movies, and I hate myself.
I've watched all 6. So when you're ready to have that discussion, like, we'll have that discussion. No, I was just gonna say, like, it reminds me of that level of quality. Just like it's. I don't know how to describe quality. Like when you're watching.
It's a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
it's Lifetime. It's Lifetime on BET. That's what it is. And this is the thing. First of all, the black community is not a monolith, right? There are people who want certain kind of movies in the black community, and there are people who want other kind of movies in the black community. Think we need to be doing this, and like it's not a monolith. Just like white people, the white community. No one says white community, right? Because they're not a monolith. Right? No one said, what is the white community thinking? But, you know, there's always, what is the black community thinking? Like, we had a meeting last week, and, you know, we decided this is what the priorities are. That's not how this goes, right?
Did Jesse Jackson lead the meeting?
Right? Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, whoever, you know? That's not really how it goes. I think this is a Lifetime kind of vibe. You're going to have people who are going to get off on it. Like, they love those cheesy, bad Lifetime movies that are kind of over the top and ridiculous, you know, The Girl Who Cried Twice or something like that. And instead of that, you have a BET movie, Karen. Like, that's just what this is. That's all that is. I honestly, when people were DMing me about this, like, did you see this? Oh my God. And I was like, and I watched her, I was like, this looks so fun. Like, this looks like it's gonna be so ridiculous.
Oh, it looks goofy as fuck.
Like, it looked like it's something I'm gonna be like, this is ridiculous, and I'm going to embrace their ridiculous, just like any Lifetime movie. I mean, Lifetime literally has movies like single white female ripoffs, right? Like, that's what this is.
That's
right?
all it is. Yeah,
that's what Karen is. It's the white female who's very much, it's racialized because she's white and because that's what is associated with the Karen. But it's still that kind of story. They just happened to be playing the racial element because they knew this would get people talking, right? You couldn't just have a regular movie about a neighbor who's too nosy and she turns weird and she's got bodies in the basement. Make it about a Karen, you know?
But somebody brought up Lakeview Terrace.
She does do that, like just kind of all these dead people in her basement or garage or something. I would love that. Go ahead.
That would be a nice little twist on that. But
it's like Don't Breathe, but like Don't Karen or something
Intruder,
like that.
Like, it just seems like we're getting another version of this every couple of years. Just like Liam Neeson. How many fucking Liam Neeson saves the day movies?
Ice Road.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
That's the one with Fishburne, right?
Mm-hmm. Lawrence Fishburne, and they're driving trucks across the ice.
Oh,
I'm about that.
I'm about it too. That trailer looked boss. That's my kind of movie. I like trash sometimes.
Yeah, there's a time and a place, you know. As a horror fan, you have to be used to dealing with trash sometimes, right?
That's what Karen is. Karen is trash that I'm going to probably have a great time laughing at.
I think my snobbery or whatever, I'm projecting my taste because
On the black community.
yeah. There you go. There's a snippet for me to get canceled with. Thank you. But I feel like again, I'll go back to the Western. That was something that feels so unique and different and a change of pace and a story that seems like fun that I'm interested in. I'm being extremely selfish. I understand that.
You selfish prick.
I just I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. My opinion is.
I mean, I get what you're saying for sure.
Do you? Because I do. I can't put words to it.
I get what you're saying, but I do think you might be falling into the default of thinking here's a film that has black people in it, and why can't they give them something better than this, right? Or different, in a way, or different from it. But I think that's why I go back to the thing of we're not a monolith, and black films can be trash too. Like every black film doesn't have to be the Jordan Peele or the fun, cool action thing of that Western that's coming out. Every film's not going to be that. I mean, it's funny because around the time of the black exploitation, there were a lot of people who were like condemning black exploitation films at the time when they were coming out, right? They were like, oh my gosh, these movies are so bad for our people or something like that. And I'm sure people were having other people outside of the black community were like having that conversation too. But at the end of the day, we look back on those movies and we're like, yo, that's such a classic. Yeah, I mean, it's a trash classic and we appreciate it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
A trash lick or
a trashic.
It's
trash conic.
It's there somewhere.
It was trash conic.
Yes, thank you.
So that about does it. Unless anybody else has anything to add to our
I just want to plug
trailer
one thing
extravaganza.
real quick here.
By all means.
It's probably not playing near you, but if you guys can see a movie, if you like music and you check your show times and there's a movie, the Sparks Brothers playing nearby
Edgar
you.
Wright.
The documentary, right? Yeah. I watched it at Sundance. Yeah.
I went as a total whim. I absolutely adored it. I had never heard of the band before, never heard any of their
Who cares?
music.
Edgar Wright directed it.
Exactly. It's directed with that energy and that vibrance that he does with everything. And like it gave me like pseudo Scott Pilgrim vibes with the way that he would kind of just throw things on the screen here and there. It's just so fun. It's made like less than $500,000. If it's playing, I'm not saying go see it because I don't know if you'll like it, but strong recommend. If you see it, just go for it. Just take the plunge. You'll probably enjoy it. I cannot get the music out of my head. That's all. I've been wanting to say that for 2 weeks. We haven't had a show since I've seen it. I just wanted to plug it. That's all. Okay.
Fuego.
A couple reviews that I put up recently. I had some thoughts on Luca, so that's on Infuegotainment. I also put up a review of Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which is just as stupid as you would expect it to be. And this weekend, we are putting up our end of the month review roundup on the Horror Show channel. And I would imagine Chauncey's seen a lot of what we're covering. Just watched Meander the other day, watched Vicious Fun, watched Super Deep, Boys from County Hell. Also finally got around to watching Boss Level on Hulu, and that's not quite horror, but that's a Frank Grillo movie that is a shit ton of fun. It's very video game centric, and I quite enjoyed it. And I think the next thing I'm going to do for Infuegotainment is a film called oh boy, I just had it up on the screen. I'm a total idiot. It's called Lansky, and it is a Harvey Keitel movie about Meyer Lansky, who was a real-life guy from, he started in the early 1900s, but he was a casino tycoon who laundered a ton of money and was being investigated by the FBI, trying to figure out where he hid all of this money, where it was laundered to. Terrific performance by Harvey Keitel. Sam Worthington, who I haven't seen in something in friggin' forever, is in it, and he's really good. I was like, I forgot that I really liked Sam Worthington as an actor, because they tried to make him a thing for a while, with Salvation, Terminator, and then also Avatar, which I believe he is coming back for those sequels. But Lansky, I was like, Keitel, I've missed you, man, because he's really good in it. And very entertaining crime historical thriller. So
awesome. Chauncey.
Well, one, I wanted to point out some good recommendations in the chat that they have for the sequel to Karen, which is Karen 2 Don't Vaccinate. I thought those are very good. I think that's great, guys. And it probably would have a $200 million. If people make it a hit, they will get a sequel, y'all. So be careful what you watch out there. Yeah, well, this week today, I put out a review for the Fear Street 1994, which is part of Netflix's movie trilogy of Fear Street, which is dealing with Fear Street 1994 being the first one. Then it's part 2. Which I believe is 1971. I forgot the exact word. I think it's 1976. And then the third one. And this is the first time they're doing a thing where it's 3 full movies, first, second, and third week, all within a month. And so I have a review for that, so people should check that out. It's a great mixture between slasher and supernatural, I think. And I also did a review for America, the Motion Picture. I feel like it counts as supernatural because there's a ghost version of Abraham Lincoln in it.
What?
And so, yes, it's quite ridiculous, and it's you will learn nothing from this movie in terms of history. So that's up as well.
It's an animated on Netflix with like Channing Tatum or something.
Yeah, it's an adult animated movie. Came out today, and it is glorious. If people like adult animation, it's from the people who made Archer and some others. And so if you enjoy that, and I love Archer, the first early seasons. So yeah, it very much is in that same vein. And I have a review on that, just kind of talking about the ridiculousness of it, but it is spoiler free. And then also tomorrow, for those who watch Loki, I will be doing episode 4 review and recap with my brother, Damon D. Rock Robinson, on my channel over there live, if you're watching Loki.
Awesome.
I do need to watch the 4th episode. I'm bad about that.
Well, it just came out today.
That's true. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better then. Okay.
How many are they doing? 8, 10?
6, just 6.
6? I'm almost there. I can keep waiting.
That's what I'm doing too, CP. Yeah, I'm waiting until they're all up.
Yeah. So for me, we've discovered an interesting movie trivia show game thing over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/WILIscredia. And what it is essentially like Mad Libs. They take scenes from really old movies that are public domain. Okay. And it's kind of like Cards Against Humanity.
Oh boy.
To a degree, except you don't have cards. They'll give you a scene from a movie with like 2 sentences, and you know, multiple people, as many up to 6 can play, and you type in the dialogue you think should be that placed into the scene, and it's quite funny. And you know, the voice for Siri reads the dialogue that you type in, even if you curse. You know, it's quickly becoming a bit of a darling that I will try my best to port to this channel, although I think the copyright whores will absolutely annihilate me, because it's movie clips. It's legit movie clips. And I don't know how Twitch is able to do it, but it is a game on Twitch. If you enjoy movies, come join me with that. I might actually watch a movie this weekend too. There's still a lot to figure out without the camera.
Yeah, you're going to watch the Boss Baby sequel this weekend, right?
I am doing nothing of the sort. I may watch, what is it? There's a movie about a woman who
yes, the Kelsey Grammer, right?
Huh?
The Kelsey Grammer film that's coming out this weekend. Got Julia Stiles. I'm trying to remember the title. It's called The God Committee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm curious about, and it's dealing with organ transplants and how there's all of these high-profile people arguing over which of their loved ones should get. That's coming out this weekend. And then you've also got the Tomorrow War on Prime, which is the Chris Pratt alien action.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Amazon.
It's supposed to go It was supposed to go theatrical, and it's another one they're just dumping. So.
I just want to say thank you to Chauncey. You carry quite a lot of weight here with some topics that maybe you don't want to talk about, and it's greatly appreciated because there's three white male idiots here. And,
I love you guys. It's fine.
We love you too, and we put you in a weird spot, and I really hope you don't feel uncomfortable.
No, that's fine.
But who else are we going to ask stuff like this to? So again, thank you so much. What did you do, Lindsey?
I tried to put my hand up and realized it was off camera, so I put my hand
See, I thought he was doing like a shark fin kind of thing.
Yes. Chauncey, you are by far and away the most valuable member of this crew. I just want to make sure that you're well thought of, and thank you so much for being a part of us.
Yeah, thank you.
And when we go on Wednesdays, we don't have annoying people in the chat.
We gotta stop
Don't
reminding
jinx it.
people.
Jinx
I keep telling you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And yes, thank you to everybody in the chat for being as close to civil as possible. It seemed pretty legit as far as I know. No arguments, even though we talked about vaccines for a little bit and still nothing. So maybe we're growing up. Maybe as a channel we're all growing. Who wants the last words?
Hip hop Pareo.